you still have your Christmas jammies on?
I have half of them.
Yeah.
I changed my shirt.
Yeah. Well, we had a fun night watching the Polar Express, and you have to be in jammies. Christmas jammies, preferably.
Okay, why do we have to be in Christmas jammies for Polar Express, but for Home Alone or any other Christmas movie we've watched?
Because
you've never thought to put Christmas jammies.
Because in the Polar Express, all the kids are in their pajamas because they get woken up out of bed and they go on the train.
Yeah, I
so
think
it's like a thing.
By
to be
nature
in your
of this episode, I am not a kid.
Debatable, but okay.
We're
going to talk about that.
That's what I'm saying. I am not a child.
Well,
I'm old.
We try to adult. We all do.
Whatever. Welcome to While She's Napping. I am Adam.
And I'm Cindy.
So last week, this was, I don't want to not give us credit, but the episode on letting go was so far, for the past 30 days, the fastest downloads within the first week. Apparently people liked listening to the aspect, or wanted to listen to the aspect on how to let go of things. And in fact, the YouTube statistics bared that as well. So we'd like to thank everybody for listening. It was therapeutic for us, I think, in a way. And, again, to those that followed me from the South of the Six podcast, hopefully that offered you a little bit more clarity.
Closure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, anywho, thank you for listening. And if you're listening to us for the first time because you're becoming an adult, or you know the trials and tribulations of being an adult, or you're a child and you want to know what adulting is like, you should, first of all, if you're a child, please turn this off. Please. Anyways, welcome to the show, and we hope you enjoy it. Please gently caress the subscribe button on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the podcatchers that you enjoy. We should be there. We are also on the YouTube, audio only. Maybe eventually we'll get to video so you can see me in my Christmas jammies while we podcast.
And to clarify, you said you're in half of your jammies.
Yeah,
you do have a different shirt on for the other half, just to clarify. Yeah. You're not half naked.
No. No, I'm wearing a different shirt.
Right.
Yeah. No big deal. We appreciate you guys checking us out. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us. And again, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us 5 stars and a quick review. We appreciate it. Come to find out, this is a little helpful hint to those that also have their own podcasts. Leaving a review on Apple Podcasts does absolutely nothing in terms of the algorithms. It doesn't boost your notoriety at all. The only thing that gets you in the charts or gets you a little bit more exposure on Apple Podcasts is listenership and downloads.
Oh.
Yeah. So ratings and review is just, they're both just window dressing, basically.
Well, I can see how maybe that's not part of the algorithm, but I know when I'm looking for new podcasts or I'm looking to maybe start listening to one, I do look at the number of ratings and reviews.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
But you can't sort your podcast search by
rating
reviews.
Right? I know what you mean.
And it doesn't, if 100 people didn't listen to an episode and all at once gave us 5 stars, our position in Apple would not change.
Right.
So,
it wouldn't direct more people to the page.
Not at all. Having said that, please download, please share, please subscribe. If you know anybody that likes this type of sort of open dialogue type of podcasting, please recommend this show to them and spread the word. We appreciate it. Word of mouth is key. Speaking of which, if you'd like to interact with us, you can by checking out our socials.
We're on Facebook at facebook.com/whileshe'snapping, on Instagram at whileshe'snapping, and on Twitter at she'snappingpod. or you can email us at whileshe'snapping@gmail.com.
Yeah, our listenership has grown 49% over the past 14 days.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Anyways, what are we doing today? I'm taking a back seat to this because, well, I'm old and I can't do anything anymore.
Are you old and tired? It's past your bedtime.
It is.
Yeah, so this episode, we wanted to do something to celebrate your birthday, which is tomorrow. Well, if you're listening,
we are recording this.
Yes, we're recording this Saturday.
Evening, yes.
So we're getting ready to celebrate your birthday tomorrow, which is mainly going to consist of the same thing we do pretty much every day, every weekend, every Sunday is sitting on our ass and watching football and eating.
Go Bills.
And yeah, you get a special pass tomorrow to really be able to just kind of chill out and watch your games. And also, you're in both of your fantasy leagues playoffs. So you really have to pay attention.
I am for sure losing my dynasty.
You never know. Okay.
No.
Your dynasty is a little different.
Miles Gaskin has COVID, and Christian McCaffrey is out.
Yeah.
I'm fucked.
That sucks. Although, last week, remember what my projections looked like?
I'm fucked.
And I slid right into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm screwed. In our league, I should be okay, maybe, but I'm screwed.
Yeah. You never know.
Dynasty.
That's what I learned last week.
It's all right.
But
it's
anyway,
just part of the journey of being there. It's fun. Whatever.
Yeah. It's all for fun. So, our day tomorrow is not going to be super eventful, but we
Speak
wanted.
For yourself.
Yeah, that's true. You're really looking forward to it.
I'm having Josh Allen cereal.
That's right. You're Josh Jacks.
My Josh Jack.
Which we found out.
Josh's.
Oh my God.
Josh is Jacks.
Joshish.
Where are all the older people named Josh? They don't exist.
No, it was like a certain generation. A lot of names are like that.
Yeah, but I don't know any 60-year-old Joshes.
I agree. And we don't know any 20-year-old, I don't know, Lindas.
No, I'm just saying. What? So Joshua? Josh is 90s explicitly? Like,
kind of.
Exclusively to the 90s is Josh?
I guess.
And that's it? It was just named?
Didn't become a popular name until
No, I refuse to believe that. I think their life caps at 45. And you're dead.
It's bad news.
Oh, you
for
disappear.
All the Joshes out there.
You disappear.
Oh, that's quite a theory.
Come 45. It's like The Leftovers. You
watched
gone.
that without me. I wouldn't know.
Oh, people just disappeared.
Okay.
I think it was 3% of the population just disappeared.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to catch up on that one
They
day.
were all Joshes. Every single one of them was a Josh. Gone.
So the first ingredient in that cereal is sugar. So
yes.
That'll be fun.
Josh.
We're going to let some of our toddler have it.
That's a hard word to say. Josh in possessive?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Josh is.
Yeah, that is hard to say. All right. So you'll be enjoying some of those tomorrow. So this week we wanted to talk about adulting. I remember for my birthday earlier this year, we did sort of a reflection, like a past selves.
Yeah.
And so we want to do something kind of similar, like thinking about just where you are in your life and, you know, how things might be different than you expected.
Here,
and
in a room with you. Does that ring a bell?
No.
You don't know where that's from?
No.
You know, here in a room with you. No? That's
No.
Old School Boy Meets World. When
I don't remember that.
In middle school when he's like, blah, blah, blah. And look where it's got me. Here. In a room. With you. No? Does it ring a bell? You are not a 90s child.
Yes, I am. I watch Boy Meets World all the time. I just
Then
don't remember
you
that
should
specific
remember that.
line.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little rusty.
Chris
It's been a
from
while.
MySpace with you. Please save me when it comes to
I'm
this.
sure he will.
Save me.
Anyway, yeah, so demonstrating your age of being a 90s kid. So I think at the age we are now, we're in our 30s, and I think this whole concept of, you know, every time I say the word adulting, I think in my head it's #adulting. Like, I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like it's turned into that sort of a term. That's how people use it. And yeah, so I just thought we could talk about some of the things that we have experienced at this stage in our life in terms of, if there are things that you thought you might be really good at by this point, like you thought adults just automatically knew how to do certain things, and like now you're here and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And you still don't know what you're doing. I feel like so many of us fall into that trap of growing up and thinking that our parents kind of had it all together, and it's just something that you know how to do automatically, like after you turn 30 or something. But you haven't experienced that thought?
I'm not good at anything, so no.
But growing up, did you think like reflecting now, looking at your parents, did you have this sense that they didn't know what they were doing and they were just flying by the seat of their pants?
No.
Right. You just thought like they had it all together and they knew.
I was passive to the whole thing. In retrospect, yes.
Right.
But at the time, I wasn't giving two thoughts.
But now, like you felt like your parents had it all together, right?
Yes,
and like they knew how to do everything, and they had all the answers, and well, not all the answers.
Depend on when
I'm
we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, about like life management is what I'm thinking
like
of.
Financials.
Yeah, like all the responsibilities that you have as an adult, and especially even in their role as parents. Like when it comes to parenting, I feel like that's a special like subcategory of adulting where it's like, I think you just assume that parents
you're fucking leveling up.
Yeah, but I think that there's a sense for when you're younger, you think, oh, well, these parents, they know what they're doing and they've got it covered and they have all like, they know what to do in every situation. And like, none of us have any fucking clue what we're doing.
Yes and no. I do think
definitely.
in a way I know what I'm doing. In terms of just getting through the day, because my day's monotonous, right? So it's a specific formula now.
You mean in terms of a parent or your whole day?
My whole day.
Work included and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's routine.
You're right. You have a whole routine.
Yes,
that's true. But I'm saying specifically about parenting, like you have to be so flexible and adaptive. Like,
yeah, you have to be patient.
And you have to use your intuition and just be creative sometimes and be willing to change course when something's not working. And I feel like, at least for me going into it, not to make this whole conversation about parenting, but I kind of thought like, oh, I'll just learn how to do this and I'll learn how to do that. And I'll know how to put her to sleep. I'll know how to feed her like the appropriate foods and at what time and what age. And like, it would all just kind of come to me, or the information would just be available.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, how do they know what to do without the internet?
Yeah, I don't know. That blows my mind.
Like the amount of things that I've looked up for solutions, and I've mentioned this before. Pre-data and data is some of the best material on Reddit, at least for dads or dads to be. It's such a valuable resource. I don't know what I would have done without that, especially pre-data. Yeah,
and for me, I don't spend a lot of time on Reddit, but I have a few accounts on Instagram that I faithfully follow, and they post such helpful things, like even just in their stories, and you get, 30 seconds worth of this parenting advice, and it, of course, none of it is gospel. It may or may not work, but there are little, crumbs of things that you can take from that, and some of those things have been godsends and things that I would have never thought to do on my own. So yeah, I wonder that too. I guess it was probably just, taking advice from friends and from your own parents.
I think when it comes to being an adult now and sort of having that reflective point of view on how I was when I was a teenager or even in my 20s, in my childhood, I just feel some of the things I don't necessarily remember that well, only because, and I do think that's a sign of a good childhood.
Yes.
When
the fact that you could be passive to it and you don't really remember. Yeah.
I was just letting the world come to me, and just selfishly, in a way, living my life, just doing my own thing.
And great parents.
I think that's sort of what children should do. Right. There should be a level of, an acute level of narcissism where it's just sort of all about them because they're still trying to figure shit out.
And you're just being a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not to say you don't have, empathy for other people or whatever. It's just, it's I don't know.
It's being a child.
Yeah, it's all about you. But when it comes to being a teenager and stuff, you're obviously going through things that now seem trivial. And when you're in your 20s, you think you have it all figured out, but you don't. Or at least your early 20s, maybe mid to late 20s, you're starting to build a foundation. But I think when it comes to the important things, how I want to be as an adult, how I want to be as a man, as a father figure, I credit a lot of that to my schooling in college, especially for me literally specializing in ethics. Yeah. I do not know where I would be if I did not specialize in ethics in college.
Yeah, it's kind of like your whole framework
is
built around
and
that.
How, literally, not just, it's easy to say, oh, you treat people like this. Oh, you should be nice to people because, okay. Mm-hmm. And usually the baseline level of being nice to people is, well, it's good to treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right, the golden rule.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. To have a literal breakdown of why we should treat people a certain way. Why is this the way we should treat people? And how you figure out how there's so many different subcategories of ethical treatment towards people, and how you can sort of latch on to one theory and disregard another that you just would have assumed all your life. It really makes me now question, okay, how do I become better? How do I become a better person every day, and sort of break things down into their most minor detail and sort of tweak each one or disregard each one. That's the ethics side. When it comes to the boring stuff,
that's a whole episode. Keep that in your back pocket.
Okay. When it comes to the boring stuff like financials and all the stuff that I never thought I'd care about, again, it's sort of just coming to me as I go. I'm passive to it. I approach those things as I have to deal with this, and running away from it will only make things worse. So I might as well just fucking deal with it.
Well, that's the kind of stuff I feel like is mostly referred to. I think most people are referring to those types of things when they do the, hashtag adulting. It's like simple things that you either didn't appreciate before you were this age, or dealing with shit like that nobody likes to deal with. I wouldn't call
like a mortgage or a financing a car simple.
No. I'm saying those are like the two categories. So that's like the shit you don't want to deal with is like the serious things, like the financial things, paying bills, figuring out how to navigate the mortgage process, stuff like that. And then there's like the silly things of like one of the polls that we did, we'll get to later, was like the most adulting gift you've ever received. So like being excited about like stupid things, like things like getting like a new appliance is like, or when we got our new fence finally installed, it's like the things that make you giddy, like as an adult. And as a kid, you're like, it's a fucking fence. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I think it levels up when you're a dad too, because of all the dad puns.
Mm-hmm. And your shoes.
Yeah. I love getting dad shoes. I would love a new grill, like a nice grill. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, we've had our grill for quite some time.
Yeah, it's got to go.
You're due for an upgrade.
Yeah. The inside is starting to get bad, but grill covers, or when we painted the deck, or the best is when we power washed the deck.
So satisfying.
Oh, dude, it's great.
That's a perfect hashtag adulting thing, is power washing something.
And growing up, raking leaves, doing the lawn, I wouldn't want to do that as a kid. Now, like, get me out there.
Yeah, you look forward to it. It's so satisfying. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Because I think it's mine. When you grow up in your parents' house, I feel that you belong there, and that's your home, but it's not yours.
You're not taking care of it. You're not responsible for it.
Yeah, you just live there.
Yeah.
Right? And it's only when you move out, when you had that sense of sentimental value towards your childhood house. Right. And I think about that shit often. I think about what's going to happen when my mom either leaves, or don't pass away, mom, but passes away. And if I can't upkeep the house, it's going to get sold to someone, and I'm going to drive by that house that I grew up in knowing someone else is living there. That's not...
I think the same thing, because my mom still lives in my childhood house too. And eventually she's probably going to downsize, and
how weird is that?
I know, it's very weird.
Driving by and seeing someone else walk out of your childhood house.
Yep.
That's so weird.
I know.
Anyways, but it's only when you get a house of your own that you're like, oh, I'm going to do this to it. Oh, I'm going to take such good care of it.
Well, you're right. It's a sense, you have ownership.
Yes.
And when you're a kid, even if you're, you hopefully we're doing some sort of chores or something to help your parents out, but you're doing it because you had to.
Yeah.
Not because maybe you got an allowance, or you had like we had a chore chart that we had to check up boxes off of. And right, but you're not doing it because you want to and because you want it to feel. And I feel like now, even once we had our daughter, I feel like that has escalated a lot of like, we want the house to be cozy and homey and comfortable and all of these things for her, because I want her to grow up with that sense of, like you were saying before, like, having it, not to say I want her to have everything easy, but like I want her to have a nice...
You want her to be passive.
Yeah, like I want her to just enjoy her childhood and not have to worry about shit. And so, I feel like that's been ramped up since we had a kid. Okay, so why don't we talk about some of the things? So we started talking about some of your favorite parts of adulting. So the things that you have to do now as an adult, but you actually kind of take joy, you actually kind of enjoy a little bit. Things like
mowing the lawn,
and that kind of stuff.
It's usually yard work.
Right.
Like, before I do it, I dread doing it, minus the lawn. I always look forward to mowing the lawn. But raking leaves, until I do it...
Well, it just takes forever.
And then I'm okay when I do it, especially when I see the final product.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know.
But... housework in general, cleaning the house, when I'm in that mood, it's great.
Oh, yeah. When you get the itch, you're like, I can't stop you.
I know. I love it.
You go down the rabbit hole of like, and I understand, this happens to me too. This is another adulting thing. It's like, oh, well, I just have to wipe down the stove after I cook. And then I'm like, oh, well, I should wipe down the side of the fridge, like it kind of splattered a little bit, and I should wipe down the counters. And then I'm like, oh, but then the front of the fridge is stainless steel, so I have to get out that cleaner, and I'm gonna and then it's like, then you're like, oh, and this grout is kind of dirty. The next thing you know, you're scrubbing the grout with a toothbrush at 10 o'clock at night. Like,
especially down here in the basement in the man cave, because we had the studio area for the podcast, but the man cavey area, I have the workout area, I have the TV viewing area, I have the bar area. And when we finished, the upgrades to this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm done adding
You're never
things.
done.
And then I said, well, that small TV, it's not selling. We should get a mount for it. And you said, oh, we should get a swivel mount so I can, have it facing me when I work out. And that's a good idea.
Genius idea, because now our daughter can watch TV on the other TV and be occupied, so I can actually work out.
So now we have two TVs downstairs in the man cave, which is great. And I'm thinking to myself, while I'm working, I'm supposed to be working at this time at like 3:30 on a Friday. I said, I gotta put that TV up, and I just mounted it. And I would have never done that as a child.
It's true, and it's so funny how it's like certain things randomly like that you get motivated by. It's like there are other things that, like, not to throw you under the bus, but there's like other shit around the house that we've been like procrastinating on forever. Like, we have a leak in the garage somewhere, and like just other things.
Because it's out of sight, out of mind.
Or like a light bulb will be out for like 5 months, and we like forget to change it. But when it's something, it's like for whatever reason you get the itch and you have this thing in
Usually
your mind.
It's when we have company. We have to put together the fake house.
Right, but that's not the case now.
And the fake house consists of all functioning light bulbs.
Yes.
You can't have a light bulb that's out.
Right. But it's just funny how you get like this one-track mind. You get tunnel vision on something that you just want to get done, and you just get it done right away. I love when that happens.
Especially the television mount. All right, I hijacked where
it's okay.
Going.
So well, I just want to talk about, so those are some of the things that you enjoy, like low-key actually takes satisfaction in these adulting things. What are your least favorite things, like the worst parts of adulting that you've encountered so far in your 35 years?
I can't say it's any activity. I can say it's noticing that I'm not as limber as I used to be.
Physically,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've noticed that too. About me, not about you.
Yeah. Look, people are going to, work. I don't love my job, but I don't mind it. You know? Mm-hmm. It's the most 50 percentile job for me. It's dead center of, take it or leave it, but I'm not going to leave.
Right.
So maybe 51%. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind working. It gives me a routine. It keeps me grounded. Mm-hmm. It keeps me disciplined in a way that I can work. And we've talked about me doing intermittent fasting before. I don't think about eating. Mm-hmm. And I feel my job does a lot of beneficial things for me to continue that. But I digress. Definitely noticing my mobility, my joints not being where they were, because I feel once you turn 25, the jump to 25 to 35 is like that. But when you think of 18 to 21, like how you were at 18 and then how you were at 21,
it's not that different.
No, it's like a light. It's like decades have passed. Right?
Between 18 and 21?
It's only 3 years. I get it, but you are definitely you're continuing to evolve.
Oh, sure. I thought you meant physically.
No. I'm talking mentally.
Yes. I agree about that.
You're
emotionally,
you're completely different people.
Different phase of life.
But 25 to 35, I feel, some things have changed, but roughly you're the same person in between that. Yeah. So I'm thinking, I can still do the things I did at 25. Not really.
And your knees say otherwise.
Oh, my knees are done. My
your
ankles
back.
are done. My lower back. It's these things that, for the longest time, I am the king of, I feel that I'm physically invincible because I've never broken a bone in my entire life. You
better knock on wood.
Sure. I've never had any sort of injury in my life.
Right.
And now I'm feeling pain
like you're on the brink
from what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is so weird.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good one. I didn't even think of that. And I don't think anybody brought this up in any of our polls about how easy it is to injure yourself. Like, don't sleep on the wrong side or in a weird position, or
shoulder.
Don't fall asleep on the couch, or don't, like today, I was laying on the floor while we were watching a Christmas movie during her nap. And I don't even know.
Get on the couch.
I don't even know how I ended up there.
No, I'm good right
here. I think I was putting toys away or something. I was building her train, the Polar Express. We made a train out of cardboard boxes. And I finished making the train, and I just there was a stuffed animal nearby, and I just grabbed it and laid down. And I was like, hey, I can see the TV from here. This is good. And I just didn't even want to get up. And I laid there for 20 minutes, and I finally got up on the couch, and half my body was asleep. I couldn't move my neck to one side. That was a terrible idea.
Yeah, I think the pain, physical pain, is one of the biggest hurdles, because that doesn't go away. You can't conquer that. You can, if you have a mental hurdle, you can theoretically get by that somehow. You can learn to adjust. You can learn how to do whatever you're being challenged with better. Mm-hmm. And you'll get used to it. And then it will become second nature and you move on. But when it comes to physical limitations that you develop as a result of getting
just
older,
aging, right?
You can't conquer that.
Well, you can stretch and do yoga and exercise and go to physical therapy and all that. That's I know. Going to physical therapy especially is a lot.
I don't have time for any of that. So that, and the mental hurdle is constantly asking myself, what am I accomplishing? That is the biggest hurdle of being an adult for me, is being remembered for nothing. I constantly am thinking about mortality now more.
Being remembered by who?
I don't know. Just, I guess it's a self-reflection of, there's this quote from someone famous that was on his deathbed. I forget who it was. he did so much in his life. And when he was dying, he was reflecting on his life, and he said so much wasted time. And that, I've wasted so much time, and you can never get that back. And I know there are people listening that are older. I'm turning 35. There are people that are way older than me, and I say way, maybe 5 years, that are saying, you're still young, you can do whatever. And that's probably true, but I'm reflecting back as to when I was fucking around in high school. So much wasted time. So I could have been a completely different person and a more accomplished person if I didn't fuck around in high school. And I just think of stuff like that all the time, and that I'm the thought of being ordinary petrifies me.
But to who? Ordinary
just in general.
To who?
Just
but
I
you're
don't
not.
know. No, I am. I'm just an ordinary dude.
But like, yeah, you're not famous.
Oh, I don't want to be famous.
Okay, so what do you mean? Like,
I don't
that's
know.
what I mean.
Like, I'm not accomplishing anything.
You are. You are. We have a great life. We own a house.
Yeah.
We
to
have...
you.
What? Yeah. Well, okay. Does my opinion not matter?
No. I said that in jest.
I know, but I'm saying, like, but to your family and friends and to your daughter and everyone who knows you, you are accomplished and you are doing things that matter.
It's kind of like that Raymond episode when Deborah, his wife, is saying, maybe, you have such a hard time thinking about what you want to accomplish because you've accomplished everything you wanted to do. And he said, well, that means this is all there is.
I guess this is all there is. Yep. That's exactly the conversation that we're having right now. Yep.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, I understand the accomplishments that we have made as a family, and I'm proud of them. It's just more of an existential kind of thing of what have I done to give my life meaning? It outside of for you and our child. I'm saying within my being.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like maybe when COVID is over, you should pick up some volunteering or something.
I don't think that's going to do
Oh,
it.
there you go. Okay. So what are you looking for?
I don't know.
That would make you feel fulfilled, or join one of our friggin' town committees or something.
God.
They're like, no, but there you go. Adulting.
No, they're all Karens. Karens and Kevins.
Well, maybe they need someone fresh.
Complaining. That's all it is. It's just a complaint about everything meeting.
Maybe. I don't know.
But
maybe you need to get involved with something like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll think about it.
I think about those things quite often. But look, and otherwise, going back to a more positive direction, I have a great life, and I'm grateful for it. And that's not to rub anything in or anything. It's just, again, calling back to the Raymond thing, maybe it's I struggle with finding something that's going to give me meaning is because I'm so fulfilled.
Yeah.
Maybe. I hope. I hope. Especially with this project we're doing, listener.
There you go.
If you think I'm pathetic, you're not alone. You are not alone. You want to take a break?
Yeah, and then we can get into the polls.
Sounds good. Be right back.
All right, so on the polls that we did, again, on Instagram, if you're following us on Facebook, you need to move over to Instagram because Facebook apparently hates polls now.
Hear that, Karen?
Yeah. So in our Instagram stories, we posted a few polls about adulting. And I guess just to finish up the conversation we were just having about worst parts about adulting, we had some pretty consistent answers come in. It seems like everybody hates taxes, insurance, bills was the big one. Basically everything not taught in school. So
why isn't that taught in school?
I don't know, but that's exactly what I'm like. I wonder if that's the reason why, at least for me, I would look at my parents and just assume, oh, this is just something that you just comes to you when you're an adult. Like you just know about taxes and you just know about all this like legal jargon and all these different terminologies that like you've never heard before. Your
laws and
like all the legal stuff. Like when you're signing a contract, that was the other one that we got was breaking apartment leases. That was very specific. But like any kind of lease, I feel like, or legal contract, as an adult, you have to sign that shit all the time. Like
you have to accept that on your phone all the time.
That's true. And everybody has to do that.
And no one reads it. No.
But when you're doing it for something like a mortgage or buying a car or you're filling out your insurance forms or like really important shit, like I guess I just assumed that adults just understand what that means and they just sign confidently and understand the all the outcomes and potential issues. And then I became an adult and I had to go buy my first car or whatever. And I was like, I have no idea. And there's so many pages.
Right.
And I come to this realization, and, the answers to our polls kind of were consistent with this, that nobody really has a complete understanding. And we're all just out there signing off on shit all the time.
Yeah. I take the approach
doing these things that you have to do.
Yeah. When I remember buying my first used car, I took the approach of, I'm just going to sign this stuff. It'll figure itself out. I am the king.
That's definitely your attitude.
It'll get figured out.
You are.
This is a future me problem.
We've talked about how easygoing and laid back you are about a lot of things, and that is so true. And maybe that's why I am so type A and anxious, is because we have to balance each other out. Like,
it's
like
true.
that I'm going to obsess over it and I'm going to try to figure it out.
Well,
and like, I know that you're just going to be like, whatever.
What's the worst that's going to happen? Especially when buying a used car. What's the worst?
You get screwed.
Okay, then I pay more and I'll just deal with it.
From where? You're just going to pay more. Like, you got to get the money somewhere. We don't have an endless...
No. I'm talking before we were married. This happened.
But even so, like, okay, so you just assumed your parents were going to bail you out, probably?
No, I knew I would just figure it out.
Okay. I'm not willing to take that. I've never been like that. I would
just deal with it.
Yeah.
Just deal with what comes to you. I don't know. It's when it comes
really
to
irresponsible
taxes and whatnot. You're right. You were never taught those things, but that has been my attitude when it comes to it, especially when I maybe noticed, people complain about so much taxes getting taken out of your check. Fun fact, don't look at it and get your check and this is the money I got. That is literally my attitude.
I know.
Every week.
I try not to pay attention to that
number.
number.
Look at my taxes.
The gross income.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because it's inevitable.
Right.
They're sucking the life out of my paycheck. Fine. All I care about, what am I taking into my pocket? Great.
Right, but that's a whole nother thing, is like, there have been times where I've asked you, like, do you know, like, if you have life insurance, or do you have your retirement all figured out? Like,
yes.
I know that you do now, but I'm just saying, those are the types of things that I feel like as a young adult, you're like, it'll work itself out. Like,
no,
I'm sure I've got money going somewhere into a 401k. Like, isn't that something that just
because
happens?
Because I have to actively
you have
do
to
that.
Enroll in it.
Right. I'm talking taxes.
Sure.
Taxes,
but I'm saying all those deductions all come out of your paycheck.
I know that. Yeah.
Right. But that's part of adulting, is to understand what the deductions are. And if you're putting in the right amount into your retirement, and
I always increase, or I try to, my 401k by 1% every year. because they match it.
Right.
I think it's 75 cents to the dollar. They match my company. So I can't be, when I hit a certain threshold, it's not like 10%. Whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm taking that out of my check.
Yeah.
No, it's probably when I think I'm at 5% now, and I'm probably going to cap that.
Maxed out. Yeah.
And yeah. And
but these are all things that you don't learn in school that, for me, I guess my source of guidance or wisdom is my parents, because they've been through it. And I guess that's the only way you learn these things, is from experience and probably making mistakes.
Yeah.
Or if you are fortunate enough to have a financial advisor or someone who, yeah,
the only
CPA
thing
or whatever
close to financials that I literally pay attention to. So in our relationship, you're the financial person.
Mm-hmm.
You just take my paycheck and move it.
I love spreadsheets.
Yeah, and you give me. We agreed we have this much to spend on whatever the fuck we want every week. The rest goes to the house and to the child and to
all the bills.
Yeah. Great. Fine. I don't care. Just tell me what is in my wallet and we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll work it out. But when it comes to other areas like taxes and whatnot, I just care about my credit score and making sure that bill is paid on time, which I feel also, on the other hand, I have a house. We have a house. We have a car. What the fuck do I need good credit for now anyway?
Well, we just refinanced.
Isn't that the point of having good credit, to get to this point?
And then to be able
and now
to
we can
do
just
other
fuck
things.
Around.
Well, no, because if we want to refinance to like remodel, or if we ever want to buy a bigger house.
Again, I say that in jest.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I'm constantly paying attention to my credit score.
Because you're so used to doing that. Because as a young adult, that was your whole, like in your 20s, that was your goal, was just maximize my credit.
Never looked at that shit once in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't start looking at it until we were buying a house?
I started looking at my credit score shortly before we got engaged.
Okay, so that was in your 20s.
I only had one. But I only had one.
That was like your mid-20s, late 20s.
I was doing that mostly because we were getting married.
Right.
I only had one credit card, so it wasn't hard to have bad credit.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I think in your early adult years.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't hard to have good credit because I only had one credit card.
You weren't managing a lot, right?
Yeah.
But you also don't get a good credit score if you don't, just from lack of credit.
I mean, it was
like if
it was okay. It was
right, but your credit improves as you take out more loans, and then you prove that you can pay them back. So not having credit is almost as bad as having bad credit when you're young. That's why it's so hard to get established. But
that's another thing. Credit cards are a motherfucker when you're getting older. Because when you make that transition from high school or whatever, teenage life, to college, and you have credit cards and stuff, again, no one teaches you about interest rates or anything, and you just, it's like a loan.
Yeah. With a 23% interest rate.
Yeah. I could just get whatever the fuck I want, swipe away.
There was a time, even when we lived together in our other apartment, I used to put everything on my credit card.
Yeah.
I didn't even own a debit card. I had a checkbook and a credit card. And I paid my bills, like my rent and stuff, with a check, or I paid with a credit card for everything else, all my spending money. But I would pay the credit card in full most of the time, every month. And so in my head, I was like, oh, I'm building my credit and I'm getting the rewards or whatever. But then that was because I didn't have a lot of expenses. We lived in a small apartment and we didn't have a kid. And and once we moved into the house and we had more expenses, there's no way I would be in credit card debt forever.
Yeah.
I can't imagine paying my credit card off in full right now.
Here's the deal. You will be in credit card debt forever.
Maybe. I'm trying to not be.
You will be in some sort of credit card
I
debt.
have that old card that I had that I used to put everything on. Still has a balance. I don't think I've ever brought it down to zero, but every new card that I open, we opened a Target one and stuff so we could do drive up and everything during the pandemic, I pay that in full.
Oh, okay.
Because it has a high interest rate, and I don't want to get stuck with multiple.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is such
I
an
don't use
adulting
them.
conversation.
What are our polls?
So, okay. So taxes, bills, insurance, all that boring shit that nobody likes.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the thing that everybody said that
Yeah.
they hate about adulting. So the other ones were more of a would you rather
Sure.
questions. And I realized after I posted it might have been confusing the way that I asked because it was would you rather. So like, which is the thing that you don't mind doing as much. So hopefully, yeah. So this was first one was household chores. Would you rather do the laundry or do the dishes?
Dishes. Easily.
Laundry.
I get that.
The poll, it was 69% said
We
they'd
need
rather
to break
do the laundry.
this down.
I know. I have some things to clarify too about this.
So for someone that doesn't have a dishwasher, I'm washing all the dishes by hand and putting them in a drying rack.
Mm-hmm.
In and out, you're done. Putting away dishes is so much easier than folding clothes and putting them away. Yep. Why? Because there's already a stack waiting for you where that said dish is going. So if you washed a plate or a couple of plates, most of the time there's a stack of plates in the cupboard.
Yeah.
And you just put them under.
Right.
You FIFO that shit. When it comes to laundry, first of all, the amount of time it takes for stuff to wash, it's easily a 3-hour thing. It's an hour to wash, an hour to dry, probably an hour to fold everything. Okay, so that's 3 hours. That's a WWE pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely dishes.
Yeah.
It's
well, that's
like
why
20 minutes.
You do the
and
dishes.
And if you have a dishwasher, it's 2.
That's true. I didn't even think of that when I posted this, that we don't have a dishwasher. Most people do. But I think that makes a huge difference. Yeah, if you have a dishwasher, I can only imagine it's that much easier. But yeah, I do the laundry. And after I posted this, I was wondering, for the people who said they'd rather do the laundry, are you doing the entire process?
Yeah.
Or are you just throwing it in the wash?
Yeah.
And then forgetting about it for a couple of days. So then your spouse has to rewash it. That has happened.
Yeah.
To both of us. We've both done that.
I get it.
And it's because you throw it in and then it's out of sight, out of mind. For us, our washer and dryer is in the basement. So I'm not like walking by it all the time and I forget that I washed it and it sits there. And it's just such a process.
And
I
usually
agree.
where your washer and dryer are, you typically, depending on where it is, don't spend a lot of time in that area.
Right. Unless you have one like in your kitchen or hallway or whatever.
Sure, but typically for the, modern family.
Most houses, they have it in the basement.
In the basement. And if the basement isn't finished and you don't spend a lot of time there, you're usually not there. Whereas with the dishes, you're walking by that often. You spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. It's
not
the most
just
important
you,
room in the house.
the operative you, people spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So if you have a lot of dishes in the sink, to me, that stresses me out.
It makes your kitchen kind of
cluttered,
unusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just
Whereas
rather
you can
get
go
that out of
without
the
laundry
way.
for a few days.
Yeah,
like
20, 25 minutes, you're done. Whereas with laundry, within those 3 hours minus folding, so the first 2, you're doing whatever you want.
Right.
You're just waiting.
Yeah.
I just hate folding clothes.
I know. I kind of like it. And we talked about this in another episode about I've done the new Marie Kondo folding. And if I have the opportunity to just like put my headphones on and fold clothes for a while, I don't mind it. Or watch something on TV while I'm folding. But I saw a meme that was like peak adulting is when you do the laundry before you've run out of something that you need. Like when you're younger, you wait until you're completely like out of underwear and then you're like, oh shit, I have to do laundry. Yeah. But now and the other part of adulting for laundry is that I do the different loads the way you're like I do towels and sheets. I do all of the baby clothes and socks and underwear, whatever, like the whites. And then I do the regular, like the dark. And I remember growing up, my mom always did that. And I didn't understand why. And in college and stuff, I washed everything together. I didn't give a shit. I also didn't use fabric softener until like the last, like a year ago. And it's life-changing. And I love it.
I'm glad you do. Haven't noticed a difference.
Everything smells so much better. And our towels are soft now.
Haven't noticed a difference.
Yeah. Well, I have it. There you go. That's a perfect adulting things that bring you joy. I am so excited that I discovered fabric softener and I love using it. I also discovered washing machine cleaner. That's fun. Once a month, I clean the washing machine.
Bottom
so
line,
pathetic.
Washing dishes is clearly the one.
Well, most people say that they would rather do laundry, but
Yeah,
I wonder how many of them are doing the entire process. But anyway, okay. The next one was, would you rather buy a used car or refinance a mortgage?
Refinance a mortgage, I would say. It depends, because, all right, so buying a used car, you get something immediately out of that, something new to you, right? But the problem is when you're buying a used car, you're definitely getting fucked. No matter what you're doing, you're getting fucked.
I was getting more at like the process of these two things. Would you rather go through the process?
They're equally as boring.
Yeah.
But when we refinanced, I mean, obviously you did a lot of the legwork here, but being in the office, I didn't feel like we were getting fucked.
Well, yeah. I mean, we knew the people, though. But when you buy a used
car, even when you're in there, you constantly have your guard up.
Right.
As to, is this person trying to slip something in? Is this
a used car salesman
price?
Is a used car salesman for a reason. Like
interest rates are interest rates when it comes to refinancing a mortgage. There's no finessing that. There's no,
you're not
negotiating. Talk to my manager. If you're just.
That's exactly what I was getting at with this question, is that when you buy a used car, there's the negotiation aspect and the feeling that I really don't want to get screwed during this transaction. Coupled with the signing a million things and whatever. But when you do a mortgage, it's even more like the amount of paperwork that you have to do. And I think it's just the pressure of, even though there's not really that negotiation part. I mean, there is if you're buying a new house, and that's, I didn't even include that. I specifically said refinancing just because we recently did it. But there's just the concept that the purchase is so large. Like, even so, you're still taking out a loan, even though you're just refinancing. You already bought the house. You're talking about a loan that's, several $100,000 or whatever it is that you're refinancing for. It's just a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but I guess the immediate gratification thing is when you get a used car. Like I said, you're taking something new home, whereas if you refinance a mortgage, you're just going back to the same house. Nothing.
Yeah, but then the next month your mortgage payment is a lot lower.
Oh no,
it's great.
And you get some money back typically.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, great, but your circumstances are pretty much the same when you leave.
Right, but if you drive home in your used car and then it breaks down like a month later,
oh, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But that first drive home,
you feel great.
You're like, I got a new car. Got that new car feeling.
Yeah, until it
press all these buttons.
You start to realize that you got screwed. Yeah. Yeah, I hate dealing with buying a car.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather just refinance a house.
I'd rather refinance too, even though it's more pressure. Even just the whole house buying process, as stressful as that is, I feel like I'd rather go through that than buy a used car.
A used car, right?
Because I hate feeling pressured. I hate feeling like I'm being like schemed or like, it's so slimy. Yeah. Okay, so the poll was close. It was 56% for they would rather buy a used car.
You guys are psychopaths.
44% would rather refinance a mortgage.
No.
Psychopaths. Well, there's also some voters may not have done one of these things. I mean, I think most people have probably purchased a used car at some point, but maybe some people haven't gone through the refinance process.
Sure,
I mean,
maybe.
Who knows? Kind of a biased question. But okay, the next one was, would you rather be on hold on the phone? And I put a note that this was like in context of waiting for customer service or something. You're calling for an issue with something, or sit in traffic.
I don't like talking on the phone.
Exactly. I knew you were gonna say that.
But in traffic, you're in your element. Now we live in 2020 whatever modern times, you can throw a podcast on.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen to music. You can distract yourself. Imagine the 90s when all you had was the fucking radio or your CDs, the limited CDs that you had in your car.
You didn't mind.
No, you didn't mind, but now you have so many more options.
I agree. I think
in comparison sounds awful.
Unless I'm going to be late for something really important and I'm stuck in traffic and I'm freaking out about it, that sucks.
Yeah, but then you just take a picture of the traffic jam, send it to wherever you're going and saying, "What do you want me to do?"
Leave earlier.
What?
That's what I always say. I should have left earlier, but whatever. The point is that I also don't mind being in the car for that reason, that you can catch up on a podcast or listen to music, and it can be kind of, a break almost to just like sit in the car, especially now in times of COVID. I'm like, I never go anywhere. Like running to Target to get my drive up order is an adventure. Yeah. And I like it because I get 20 minutes to listen to a podcast.
I drove somewhere today, drove to Kohl's to take back an Amazon order. When, staying home all week and then taking an odd drive somewhere, I find myself needing to remind myself how to drive.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
you've only been working from home for like
weird.
2 weeks. I've been home since March.
Yeah.
Driving is weird.
It's weird.
Not having your everyday commute. And then like once a week I drive down the street.
I'm talking about the aspect of driving.
Me too.
Itself.
I know. I'm saying because I'm not driving regularly.
Yeah.
I drive once or twice a week and I only go down the road.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is really weird.
Anyways, traffic for sure.
Yeah. So this was one that I thought maybe people misinterpreted the question, because 69% said they would rather be on hold with customer service.
No. No.
But I wonder if there's a piece of that, like if it's traffic and it's making you late for something, or there's road rage or whatever. Yeah, that sucks. But I feel like being on hold, first of all, calling and talking to customer service for any reason, for any company, just is always so annoying. Yeah. Like, because I feel like my problem is I'm never assertive enough. Like if there's an issue with something, I'm like so angry, and then I call and I get on the phone and the person is like, if they're good at customer service, they're friendly and they're kind. And I'm like, what? It's not personal. I know it's not your fault. I'm not taking it out on you, but here's my problem. And I'm like, I'm so nice and I never end up getting my issue resolved.
That's why Amazon's great. You don't like your order for whatever reason.
Yeah, no questions asked.
Take it back. We'll give you your shit.
No, I've had to argue with so many of our like utility companies and had issues with stuff, and I am just terrible at it. And I try to stay on top of it, and sometimes I, get something worthwhile out of it, but usually I just get walked all over and whatever. And then so there's the fact that that kind of a conversation is coming, and if you have to wait on hold for 20 minutes or something just to, in my case, usually not even have it be very productive. And it's like you feel like you can't do anything else while you're on hold, because I'm like, well, shit, as soon as I go to pee or whatever, they're going to pick up. Like,
yes.
It's really annoying. I hate that too. And it's so funny you bring up about how you hate being on the phone. I don't know if that's an adulting thing. I think you've always been that way, and you've never kind of gotten more comfortable.
I mean, before smartphones and whatnot. Yeah. When I talked to my friends, that was the only...
Sure, but talking to strangers, like even calling to order food or make
I don't mind ordering food because it's an end goal. Okay. I don't like making appointments.
Right, calling the doctor to make an appointment. I feel like for me, I used to be more nervous about calling strangers. I think now that I just have more experience, like just in a career and like being on the phone with people in a professional capacity, like I'm better at like seeing the other people as just another person, and it's easier to have a conversation with them, which leads to me not getting my shit resolved because I'm like just talking to another person. Yeah. And it's so friendly, but it makes the conversation easier, right, but less productive. Okay, so the last one wasn't a poll, it was just open-ended question. We touched on it a little bit earlier. What is the best adulting, like peak adulting gift that you've ever asked for or received?
Ooh. Peak. My dad gave me a toolbox full of tools.
There you go. Yep.
And he said, these are the only things you'll really ever need.
So he gave you the essentials.
It was the screwdrivers and the wrenches.
And a hammer.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you got to add some duct tape to your toolbox.
Sure. Yeah. But he said that's these, obviously you're going to need more. You will add on to these.
This is your starter. Yeah.
Yeah. These are the basics that you need. And these will get you by wherever you go.
That's so true. That's such an adulting thing. Like people get you gifts for your house all the time, or like a Home Depot gift card, or like
I was going to say, when I was a kid, I fucking hated going to Home Depot.
Me too. And my dad lived there.
Now, get me to fucking Home Depot.
I know, it's an adventure. You love it. I know. It's so funny. I feel like Home Depot is for you or for, this is so stereotypical what I'm about to say right now.
Kohl's.
No, like Target, like the typical, like Target for women my age is a very like memeable thing, you know? And I feel like it's the closest equivalent is when you go to Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel like I feel when I'm in Target. Okay, so some of the responses we got were, one, this was unique and a good one. I would be excited for this too. A hot water thermos.
Hot water thermos.
Like
a Yeti?
like probably like a Yeti, like a nice
you
thermos.
You have a Yeti.
Yeah, I have the beverage holder. Like
it's a coffee holder.
Yeah, so that's true. I'm not sure if this is meant for that or like a legit thermos, like that has the screw on cap and, you know, you take soup or whatever, or if it's just for beverages. But either way, whatever. Yeah, I remember it took me a long time to decide to purchase my Yeti because it was really expensive. I'm like, is this worth it? It's worth it.
Yeah.
For sure. Another kind of food related one was an Instapot. This is a friend of mine who, she said it took 3 years, but she finally got it. She asked Santa for an Instapot for 3 years. Yeah, we don't have one, but I've heard that they're great.
We just don't have anywhere to put it.
No, I know. That's
adulting things.
So adulting. It's like we have all these kitchen gadgets. You have nowhere to put anything.
Yeah.
There's some of these things that are great, but
the biggest ones you use twice a year,
the least
maybe.
Often. Yeah, it's true. Like I have 2 kitchen appliances that I love. I would not want to part with them, but they are the biggest ones and I use them the most rarely. That's my stand mixer and my bread machine. And
the air fryer. We use the air fryer
more often. Yeah. But like the stand mixer is like for special occasions. Like I probably could use it more often. I probably should. It'd probably make my life easier. And the bread machine I love too. And there was a while where I was using the bread machine like every week. I was making bagels every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, not anymore.
No.
Not in 2020. We have a child. I'm not making bagels from scratch these days, but it's nice to have.
Yeah.
Okay. So those were 2 of my gifts, actually, that I just gave. I got both of those things as gifts, and I love them, but I don't use them very often. The next 2 were, we got 2 answers for each of these 2 things. So they were popular, both related, again, to keeping up your house. A vacuum, like a really nice vacuum, and a steam mop.
You have a steam mop.
Those are both gifts that I received. I received a steam mop as a gift and a nice vacuum as a gift for this house. And I wholeheartedly agree with both of those.
The steam mop is clutch because then you don't really have to wait for your floor to dry. Maybe
it's like
5
a
minutes.
Swiffer, but a Swifter, however you say it.
Swiffer.
But better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vacuum, I mean, it was great when we got it. And I'm not, saying it's a bad gift. It's just always one of those things that it's like anything else that when you see the new model, you're like, ooh, that takes the soul out of the rug.
Our vacuum is great.
No, I know that. It's just like that, again, that Raymond episode where you think you're getting a lot of stuff getting sucked up because you're using it for the first time.
That's a great episode.
And then 4 years later, you see this commercial with this new thing that sucks the soul out of the rug. And I want that one. I want to suck some souls out. Yeah.
But isn't that funny? Like that, this is what we mean when we talk about #adulting is we're like dreaming of the latest
Ryobi
vacuum.
Tools.
Yeah, that's right.
All the time.
Yeah, you've got now it's because it's once you have a couple of the batteries, you can use them in any of their tools.
I want a new lawnmower.
What's wrong with your lawnmower?
It's small.
Oh my! Our yard is small.
Yeah, I want to.
You want a riding mower?
No.
Okay, you used to talk about that, which is hilarious because literally, our house, we live on a less than a quarter of an acre, and the lawn isn't the whole quarter acre. I mean, the entire house sits on that, plus the driveway and a garage.
That would be fun. I want, years of, and again, this keeps me in shape. Not having a self-propelled lawnmower.
Oh, like the old school ones that.
No. The lawnmower we have, I have to push. It doesn't propel itself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh.
I have to push that every time. And
I did it once.
Yeah. It doesn't self-propel, but I've experienced the magic of self-propelling lawnmowers, and it's a life changer.
Oh, man.
And I would like that. And I want a snowblower. All Ryobi.
I know.
I want a snowblower so bad, especially because winter's snowstorms are coming later and later now. And we have a long ass driveway. And I'm talking about back pain in the beginning of this episode.
Right, I know.
I don't want to shovel anymore.
I know.
Just want to push it.
Well, I feel like I always ask for the most adulting gifts. Like, I get so excited.
Get some adulting
That's
gifts.
good. I'm very excited. It's so funny. Like, the gifts that our whole philosophy around gifts is very different. Like, I want to get the things that I need that I would have bought for myself anyway. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I don't have to buy this thing that
right.
You would rather get things that you would never buy for yourself.
I wouldn't mind either.
Right.
But I prefer the gifts because if I need it, I'll just buy it.
Right. It's just a different philosophy.
Right.
And it's, we know each
I'm
other.
over here organizing Funko Pops.
Speaking of adulting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know that I most enjoy practical gifts, things that I would use. Like, I know, like, sometimes I get, baskets of, like, all of my toiletries, like things I use all the time, like my face cream and soap and shampoo or whatever. I love that shit. Like, because then I'm like, great, I'm stocked up. I don't have to buy any of this for a while. And so anyway, so things like that. So I posted in the Instagram story, like, I can't even remember honestly now if it was the same year, but there was a year you bought me a new coupon book.
2013.
Oh, wow. You had that ready.
I remember buying that because that's the year we got engaged. And I got you all the engagement stuff.
All right. Yep. That makes sense. And was that the same year you bought me the spice rack?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I lost my shit that year. I love those things.
I got you the coupon organizer. I got the toothbrush holder.
Oh, yeah.
The owl toothbrush holder that we used to have, and the spice rack.
Yeah. I love, like, how easy am I to buy for?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
you're simple.
And you also got me a food processor once, going back to kitchen appliances.
I got you a food processor.
I still have that.
I got you, what other household appliances have I bought you? I don't fucking know. Just good stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's just all practical
changes.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, as a kid, you hate getting, like, underwear and socks. I love getting new socks. Like, it's stuff I don't have to buy. It's stuff you always need.
I'm just going to end up buying it when I need it.
No, I know. I would too. It's not like if I don't get socks for Christmas, I'm going to go without socks.
I'm further expressing how we differ, because in my mind, I'm thinking you just probably dropped $15, $20 on socks. You could have used that to get me a Sweet Bill shirt or a Blue Jay shirt or something to whoever. I'm thinking, like, let me buy my... Unless you're my mom.
Yeah,
you know, I can count on my mom to get me the underwear and socks and the undershirts, and fine.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody else getting me socks or these practical gifts, not that I'm not appreciative. I'm just saying I am not difficult to buy for.
So I feel like I'm more in the adulting phase of gifts now.
When it comes to Christmas, I still want to be a kid.
Yeah, right.
I have a difficult time letting that go.
That's understandable. It's reasonable.
It's the only thing. I like being a kid on Christmas and being excited, and that's one of the things that I've noticed is that it's fading. And of course, it's mostly because we have our own child, and I'm more excited for her to have a good Christmas and to her to keep that belief in Santa Claus. And, we'll talk about this next week when we do our Christmas episode, but that is the one day of the year that I'm just thinking to myself, just spoil those around you. And that's my goal. It's just to
but you
people
love
closest
giving
to me.
gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this next week. But is that it for the polls?
That was it for the polls.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not ready to be 35. It's coming. Whether I like it or not. But I will say this. When I was about 13, 14 years old, I do remember this vividly. Sitting in the car, my dad driving me home from somewhere. I don't know what made him say this, but he said, enjoy these years because they're the best years of your life, and they are going to go like that. Enjoy these years. And when I'm 14, 13, I'm, fuck off, Dad, whatever. Looking back, it's so true because you didn't have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
You had nothing to worry about when it comes to, again, taxes, mortgages, anything.
Right. Serious responsibilities.
You just lived your life. And, you know, it makes me wonder now, being a parent, being an adult, you know, you and I, not with each other, just everyday life. Sometimes we get stressed out. We have bad days. Sometimes very severe shit happens to us. Sometimes very minor shit happens to us. But, you know, we sort of deal with that in our own way together. And I do feel there's this underlining goal not to let that interfere with our parenthood and how our child, you know, responds to us and how we treat our child. Try to keep that shit in the background. Makes me wonder how stressed my parents were, because when you're a kid, you don't think of that.
Because they're protecting you from it.
I know, but it's all about you. There's a slight sense of narcissism.
That's why I think there's a balance. Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, what were my parents privately going through that, and I forgive myself as a kid for not having a reason to pay attention to that, because you're a kid. You wouldn't understand the gravity of that anyway.
But they were intentionally protecting you from it.
If something happened at work to them as a 13, you don't know.
Right.
You don't know how to handle that. But
this
type of thing I think about. So again, if you're a child listening to this for some reason, you shouldn't be, but if you did, enjoy these years because they're the best years of your life.
It's such a cliche thing that I think every adult or every parent says to every kid.
Yeah.
And no kid ever listens.
No.
Yep.
And you'll never, that's the thing about time. I joke about this when I'm in a quote unquote meeting with my boss. That could have been an email. And I just,
that's peak adulting right
there. Say, that was it? That's what you wanted me for? Yeah. This is 5 minutes of my life that I can never get back. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. And it's, you know, the things about again, so much wasted time.
Yep. Yeah, my vivid memory of that kind of thing is when I was probably about 14 or so, and I was reading 17 magazine, and I remember thinking, man, I wonder what my life is going to be like when I'm 17. Like, it was so far away. And like the people on the cover of 17, you know, assuming they were 17 or whatever, around closer to that age, were so old to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy. You have a completely different perspective.
I don't want to talk to a 17-year-old, let alone read a magazine full of them. Fuck that. All right.
Well, hopefully, listeners will be hearing this after your birthday, but tomorrow will be a good day.
I hope so. The Bills need to win.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
And our fantasy players need to.
I'm already conceding.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Well, I thought I was done last week, so I'm just in bonus territory at this point.
I just want my Josh's Jacks.
Oh, you're going to have a whole feast. I'm going to be breaking out some of those appliances tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. All right. So next week, we'll talk about Christmas. I do want to put up some polls in terms of Christmas movies, people's favorite Christmas movies. I do want to have a little mini debate as to Die Hard, whether it is or isn't a Christmas movie. I know that's a hot button issue for some. I have my position on it. I would like to espouse if I could. And I want to talk about favorite Christmas memories if you want. It's sort of similar to what we did for Halloween.
Sure.
But just Christmas-atize it.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll do next week. And then after Christmas, because Christmas falls on a Saturday.
Right.
So we'll record, I guess, the New Year's Eve or the New Year's, reflecting on 2020.
God, we have to.
On the 26th.
Okay.
Leading into the... What we should do is we should do an episode reflecting on 2020 before the new year, and directly after the new year, we'll talk about what we want to see in 2021.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
That being said, thank you for listening. If you liked what you've heard, please subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it, you're there. If you'd like to build our vanity project and give us 5 stars and a quick review on Apple Podcasts, we appreciate it. As we've already established, it does nothing for the algorithms, but it still looks cool. So again, vanity project. Please do so. And again, if you want to contact us and participate in the upcoming episode about Christmas, you can by visiting our socials.
We're on Facebook at facebook.com/whileshe'snapping, on Instagram at whileshe'snapping, on Twitter at she'snappingpod, or you can email us at whileshe'snapping@gmail.com.
All right. I'm going to be just a waste tomorrow, so.
That's fine.
Go Bills. You'll know who won. Go Bills.
Bye.
Bye.